Dave Edmonds moves that we reconvene. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, we're back in session. We're going to talk about 7C, enhanced policing, RCMP. Now, can I just comment first?
You bet.
I think we were on the same page, but as I looked at that, you know, for a specific event, we might be able to do that, but for a long term, it looks very scary to me. It looks like, you know, there's quite a bit of risk, there's quite a bit of cost, and you might be on the hook for relocating an officer. And actually, Jeff had a little visit with Staff Sergeant Zane, and maybe you want to comment on that?
Well, as I read through this again just recently after I talked to him too, and he said sometimes your only option is option B, where they don't bring you another officer because they simply don't have one. But they pay for overtime for your current officers to get more man hours out of your current officers, but that doesn't address the acute issue that we're trying to deal with.
On the street.
Right, that doesn't deal with it. So, yeah, it's tricky. If you get a year in and you want to cancel, you still have to pay for that person all the way until they're transferred, and any relocation costs and a number of things. There's a lot of things there that we could be tying ourselves to that could get expensive. But you know, as you guys talked in your strategic planning session, if that's the top priority, then we've got to find some way to address it. I just wanted to bring this forward for some discussion if we want to pursue it, because there is a deadline on application, right?
Yeah. Okay. So Councillor Bengry had a comment. We'll start with him.
I'm just not wondering if BTP, Blood Tribe Police, they've always been a presence at the powwow. You've always seen them come in and drive around through the powwow and stuff like that. Is there any way that we could work with them and the RCMP and have them work together on this situation that we have on Main Street?
Jeff actually did a little inquiry into that. You want to comment on that?
There appears to be on the surface some jurisdictional issues.
Okay.
The Blood Tribe Police, I still, in theory, like that option actually, to explore that a little bit. I think there's some logistical issues with their staffing, their manpower. They don't have surplus men either. And there is some jurisdictional issues once you get off the roads and highways in the town. It becomes a little trickier. And I haven't explored that thoroughly yet.
Okay.
I'd like to, because I think it could be an option.
Yeah.
But right now, Zane suggested there may be some jurisdictional issues that they couldn't actually enforce by law or provincial statute. Those two may become a problem.
All right. Mayor and then Dave.
Well, for me, because the cost is prohibitive, not only the cost, but there's also other issues along with it. I'm wondering if, as a council, we ever thought of putting a dollar amount as to what would be reasonable for us to address safety issues on our main street, on our commercial court. What is it that we as a council would want to see in the budget? And what would it look like if it doesn't look like the RCMP? Or if it doesn't look like the Blood Tribe Police and RCMP working together? Maybe those are the options that we need to start to really seriously address and try to figure out what else can we do to address those issues. But to what extent monetarily?
Yeah.
How far are we willing to go? If that amount, which is astronomical, is really gives us a sick feeling in our pit of our God, maybe we need to figure out what is it we can live with.
Yeah. Good point. Okay, Dave.
We remember a few years back, probably on our first powwow, the Lethbridge Police Department came and set up their teepee. Would it be possible to imagine those people that are doing that are off duty at that time?
Well, that was an event, and that's nice of them to set up their teepee, but I don't think it addresses our policing.
But if they were, you know, if they are off duty, couldn't you pay them to provide additional policing if you
Well,
needed it?
basically, what you're suggesting is contracting some policing services from wherever. I mean, it could be Lethbridge, it could be, and that's an option. We did commissionaires a little bit last summer, right? And I don't know, how that was evaluated as whether successful or not. I guess we debated that a bit. Let's look at Councillor Barnes, then back to you, Councillor Maggie.
I think I asked this question once before, but maybe I didn't ask it the same way as I'm thinking now. But if we were to do an enhanced bylaw officer, is that a level 2?
No, it'd be a level.
Level
Well,
1.
Lloyd's level 2, level 1.
Okay, so once our current man retires, and we hired a level 1 that could do bylaws, traffic, can you do traffic?
Level 1 can do traffic.
And he would have a little
But they
more
don't do
authority.
criminal code.
Right.
No, but he could do a little more authority on the streets.
Not,
Specifically, what do you mean, Councillor? A little more
Well,
authority is to respect
I'm
to
talking
what?
about, you know, if somebody's stealing or
You
you
can't
can't
do
do anything,
criminal
only the
code.
police can do
That's
that.
criminal code, can touch
Okay,
it.
so I guess the question then is does that level 1 guy, does it address any of the problem that we're having on the street?
None, just travel. All he can do,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
additional to Lloyd, is moving
Yeah.
around.
Moving violations.
Okay, Councillor Bengry.
I'd like to make a suggestion that our administration, along with our staff sergeants, investigate the use of flood tribe police. And if it cannot be used, then come back to this council, and then we start discussing further what happens. But I think that needs to be investigated real close, because you never know,
Yeah,
you know, what the government's gonna say. In our case, they might say, hey, because of the proximity and because of the problems, you know, we're gonna allow that to happen.
yeah.
I think we need to investigate that
Need to look
further.
into it.
I think it's worth investigating. and-
It's on the plan to check it out anyway, yeah.
I think we
Just don't
should.
have that right now.
Yeah, Councillor
Something we
Peavoy.
had
Yeah,
brought
so-
to you in.
Comment.
If I'm understanding this correctly, the reason this is maybe a pressing issue is because there's a deadline on this.
Yeah,
I agree
deadline
with, I
for
think,
the-
everybody around the table, maybe this is a little outside of our budgetal expectations.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate the mayor's comment about, you know, so then what then is our budget expectation? And I think that number, it's really hard to lock down today,
Right.
because this summer could be a record horrible, horrible summer, and all of a sudden, that number goes up really fast to where the... So, but as far as right now, I think this number, you know, is a little high, and I think that we could probably let this go to rest while we pursue other options, other contracted options. I agree with Councillor Barnes, we're probably looking for somebody even with more authority than a council, or than a class 1 bylaw enforcement.
Well, I think we're all agreed, yeah, that we're not gonna contract
We're not going
the
to put an
RCMP for enhanced
application.
policing.
Yeah.
It's just too scary, too prohibitive. So, you know, we can have a little brief discussion on what do we do instead. And I think we're probably gonna have to come up with this again. I think the suggestion to use, you know, investigate the working with the blood tribe police is a good one. We can do that. You know, we can look at our bylaw officers and do that. One thing when I was talking to Jeff previously, I think there's another piece besides just, you know, the budget. You know, I mean, it's going to cost something, but I think there's got to be a strategic plan. You know, one of the things that you know, I couldn't think of an example, but Jeff suggested, you know, some of the things that occurred over different times would make the people feel uncomfortable. And so, you know, we can't stop them from coming. If they want to come, they're going to be there, and we can't. But if you can make them feel uncomfortable enough, and like, well, for instance, the RCMP visited, made him feel uncomfortable enough that he left town. So, you know, for example, you know, Jeff suggested that, you know, that Horton walked by, everybody disappeared, and then, you know, 2 minutes later they were all back. Horton walks by, and then 2 minutes later Lloyd walks by, and oh, we can't, you know, make them feel uncomfortable. You know, develop a strategic strategy with you know, our bylaw officer, our liaison person, you know, maybe the blood tribe, maybe whoever, maybe the RCMP, and work out, you know, some ideas, you know, whether it's surveillance or whatever. And I think this, you know, is going to require some more discussion and some more planning, and maybe with our police and stuff like that, to come up with a strategy. I don't know, I want to take, you know, a lot more time in this meeting. We've kind of laid this one to rest. So can we just bring this back and discuss it, further?
One
Yeah.
thing I am going to say is, I think our staff sergeant is acutely aware of the problem down there, and he is working on it.
Yeah, so if we can work with him, jointly with, like I say, all of the policing resources we have available, and then just be strategic, find ways that we can, try to mitigate the problems. I mean, I don't think we're ever going to totally eliminate them, but we can mitigate them in a lot of ways and think about it. So can we, bring this back and have further discussions later on? I think, like I say, the item that's on the agenda basically was the
We need
RCMP, and I think we've decided that we don't need to do that, so.
Yeah.
Can't
I
afford
think
it.
we need to give enough time to administration to do their finding.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And then when they have done that,
we could do,
bring
and we
it
can talk.
to the table.
Would you like a recommendation to investigate working with the blood
Well,
tribe?
I got that direction from the strategic planning session.
Right.
Okay.
So that's
It's already
okay.
there.
So
Yeah,
we-
that's
so we're good
all
on-
in the works.
And then the last thing I was going to say about the comment about budget is, again, that budget changes too with creative options. So we've talked about, historians who can swim. I like the idea of an RCMP retired officer who's also got his lineman ticket. Let's get creative. Yeah. He's worth more money to me.
Whatever, if we can find one.
It's quite a job description.
If we can't find one who's an
All right,
accountant.
so let's,
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, police officer.
one thing I don't want to see happen
mhm.
is in June where
Okay,
this
let's,
is the time.
By
so
April
we
something.
are March, so let's make sure at least it comes up
Okay.
at our next committee of the whole, if not sooner. And maybe with some, well, you're going to investigate the blood tribe, possibly as soon as we get a report back on that, bring it back to the table for us. Welcome, Councillor Barfuss.
It's a sharp one.
You've got your, we'll go to 7D, which is, basically this is an information piece. Jeff basically updated the council strategic plan per our planning session, and he's just put it there with the changes highlighted. So if there's any comments on things, if we agree with what Jeff has put in there, that it reflects our decisions at the planning session we had.
My comment is to administration. I very much appreciate the format that you're presenting for us to look at our progress with our strategic plan. Thank you. It's good, it's clear, it's concise, and we can navigate through it pretty easily. Thank you.
Okay, good. Yeah, can we move on there unless other comments like to try and get through, or which will go to 7E Airport, so that, this belongs to the province. We could change we could buy it, or we could see if the county wants to buy it. Those are all, all options there. Do you want to just
Sure.
address this for a minute, Jeff?
Yeah, I wanted to bring this to council. I've had this for a little while, and then I get down to reading it, and I just want to have some environment, I guess it is now. The ministry changes a lot lately, but I believe that's who owns it. There's 67 acres total, and we have the license to occupy it. Nominal amount a year to occupy it, but when we were considering changing our relationship with the airport club, it would look like a sublease is what we're really looking to do. And sublet. So they've given us some options. One is we could apply to change the license of occupation, so we could sublet. Very simple, very straightforward. I don't necessarily have a lot of problem with that. We could propose to purchase the land and then do whatever after that, then we don't have to worry about the conditions on the license of occupation. So those are a couple of the options, but the other one I thought, is there a play with the county here before we go look to spend $100,000 on land, or before we look to change it? As always saying that our relationship with the county is inequitable. But at the end of the day, until Leonard to put a plane out there, we didn't have a town resident with a hangar there. The county tax costs out there. And so we're gonna spend $17,000, I think, this year on the airport. Out there, which is fine, there's other spin-off benefit to having the airport. I don't debate that, but I'm wondering if now is an opportunity to rather own that land than the town, for one. I think they would prefer that. Now, they're not taxing it now anyway because the province owns it. But unless we relinquish our license to occupy, they can't buy it either. So we can accommodate that potentially if they would find that desirable. And ultimately, I'd love to see them just take over the airport and then requisition us annually for a portion.
So is this something we should just take to the IMDP?
That's where like I said, I could easily apply to change the intent of the license of occupation and we can get on with it.
Okay,
That's fine. Or do we want to explore this first?
Okay, yeah.
so that was my point. Maybe we need to refer that to the IMDP and present the diverse options and maybe the benefits and the maybe not so benefits to the town and to the county, and let's see if a decision can be made at that board and brought back.
Yeah, good idea. Dennis, then Councillor Peavoy.
Okay, so $137.70, including GST, is a pretty good rent. What is our big concern
The
here?
concern is the subletting, which we cannot do, and the cost that it is to us to keep that airport operating, costs that are not shared by the county, although most of the residents that have hangars are from the county. And the fact that the county taxes and get the revenues, while we get all the expenses.
Taxes who?
All the
The-
hangars.
All the hangar
Hangars.
They tax the hangars?
Yeah.
Yes.
But we
And
can't
they get-
tax them?
No,
It's not in the town.
and they get all the revenues, we get all the
But
expenses.
if we have a lease on it, it's technically our property, isn't it?
Well,
Well,
we would pay the.
Yeah, then we would,
Do they pay any
yeah, then we'd be,
rent, or-
yeah, so there is we do, I want to say it's like 700, what is it, 700?
On taxes.
I don't know, I'm not sure.
Mhm.
I don't imagine those hangars assessed at any great amount.
Not probably a lot. either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else are we paying for besides?
Paying all the maintenance.
Utilities, maintenance, oiling, painting, about 15,000 to 17,000 a
Fencing.
year,
Every year?
every year.
Mhm.
And the county just
Nothing.
won't?
Well, they haven't been formally asked, I don't think, but
Well,
one other thing I wanted to throw
Look into
out,
that.
well, one other thing I want to throw out is, what if we just walk away from the airport? What if I just tell the province, we don't want the license to occupy anymore?
Yeah, see, started out with the flying club,
Yeah.
and then the town decided that they
Yeah,
would,
that's not such a bad
they
idea.
would
Well,
take it over, I guess, so that, to accommodate the flying club. And I think,
the benefit.
I think the present issue actually happened when they needed an easement for services
Yeah, well,
to the hangar, right?
that's what spurred it on, is they were trying to run a gas line to one of the hangars, and there's not an easement to the hangar. So we were prepared, we budgeted $5,000 to get a real property report and surveys done, and the surveyor came back and said,
It's not your
you don't
problem.
own this.
You don't own it. Yeah.
So that's the issue. Anyway, Councillor Peavoy, did you have a comment there, and then we'll,
No, I think it's been answered.
okay, all right.
Yeah, thank you.
So can we just put this on the IMDP?
Oh,
and see if
that,
we-
you know what, that was it. The
Okay.
IMDP referral was my other question.
Yeah.
If it doesn't seem like there's any pressing, urgent need, I was just curious if we would need to maybe call a special meeting of the IMDP.
We're meeting in like 5 weeks or
Are we?
something.
5 weeks?
Yeah,
Okay.
we've got a meeting coming up
In
second
May.
week of April, I believe, April 11th.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm not
You're right.
mistaken.
It's April.
So yeah, we've got one coming up soon.
Excellent.
So that would be timely enough
Yeah.
to bring that on, so.
But I don't know if you're thinking about it, as I think about this more and more, I appreciate the gentleman on the flying club, I think it's a neat thing, but do we need to own it?
Ultimately, why
Can
are we?
Can the flying club get a license to occupy from the province?
Well, we'll check.
Do we need to be involved?
So
I'm not sure they want that $15,000.
No, they obviously can't stand the $15,000 a year cost, but at the same time, it's a fairly arm's length relationship for us to pay it to.
Who's on that committee right now? If Councillor Edmonds is okay. Do we need to maybe involve somebody from that flying club and invite him to come to the IMDP or as a delegation?
I don't know.
I think we need to put it back into the county's lap and say, hey,
Yeah.
you know, this is a situation, you're taxing, you're
Yeah.
collecting all the revenues, we're paying all the expenses.
And
What's the story here?
as Jeff said, if we present it to the county, that they may be interested in buying the land back, because you suggested the county might be looking at trying to acquire.
I know they've been trying to get a bunch of tax recovery properties from way back in the Second World War that are all over the county. They're in the mode right now of trying to reacquire lands that are owned by the province within the county, so that they can get them into private hands to tax them, which is appropriate. I have no problem with that. We may be able to facilitate 67 more acres, but we'd have to relinquish our license to occupy. They couldn't just go take it.
So, would we like to, do we need a motion to refer this to the IMDP committee then? Or do we just do it?
Yeah, you could recommend to council to refer this matter to the IMDP.
Okay.
That would be good.
Have a motion to recommend to council, we refer this to, yep.
I'll make that move.
Okay, Councillor Bengry moves that we recommend to council to refer the airport to IMDP committee to discuss with the county.
Yep.
Okay, all in favor? Great, thank you very much, appreciate that. Councillor Bengry, you have a presentation on the Chautauqua.
I have, and I'm gonna ask my companion in the Chautauqua to do that, roll it for us.
Yeah, it's just a 3-minute audio video and then
Yep.
we're in good shape, so.
I think you'll
Turn this
enjoy
back
it.
on?
Turn, please.
I think you'll enjoy it. We are moving ahead. We have a luncheon set up for Wednesday, March 16th from 11:30 to 1:30, right here in this council room.
What time?
11:30 to 1:30.
March the
16th.
Who's the luncheon for?
That is the date that we
That's
have.
for anybody that wants to come and see what a Chautauqua is and
Volunteer, whatever.
give us their ideas on volunteers. So I would encourage you all to come.
I won't be taking my wife to the train.
How long was it?
That
Where?
we-
This
This
year
year
is
was trained.
So, yeah, we'll always,
We'll
We'll be here.
Sorry, that was what date?
The 16th.
March 16th.
It's a Wednesday.
16th.
so yeah, we,
And I'll even give you a sandwich. This is the presentation that Darlis Coolidge gave us down in McGrath.
This is a slightly shorter one. We saw an 8-minute one, but
Right.
we thought for council we'd do a 3-minute one.
Okay.
So if they get that going.
This is what we had before, right?
It's
working.
Yeah.
Where's Chef?
We did those last. We added.
That's right. The source has been found.
Yeah. With the carriage. Yeah.
While they're pulling that up, I'll just remind everyone, if you're trying to spell Chautauqua, it's just A-U-A-U and then U-A.
lots of AUs and
It's
UA.
2 A-U's and 1 U-A at the
Can
end.
you tell us the origin of that word?
It happened in Ohio. And
What does it exactly
it means
Where
two
does it come from?
moccasins tied together.
2 moccasins set together.
Yeah, there's two lakes down there, the twin lakes, and they look like moccasins. And
Yeah.
so the Chautauqua means two tied together.
Thank you.
And since that time, as they'll show here, the definition of a Chautauqua is this event. So the meaning now, sorry. This one. Oh, yeah, pass that package. This is the Mormon, this is the Mormon Trail
Who's this
Chautauqua
going to?
to the mayor. Information. So while they're pulling that up, you want to just start and then I'll interject while they're...
What do you want me to start with?
Oh, well, I was just going to say, as far as just getting everybody on the same page. So when I originally heard the idea of a Chautauqua, I thought it was, if you look over at the board there, there's four pillars, and I thought it was primarily the culture pillar. Turns out, culture is just one of the 4 pillars, and if anything, the primary pillar is religion, and the secondary one would be education. So they would probably flow in that order of importance. And so if they can start that.
Chautauqua was started for an adult learning experience for the rural communities,
Yeah, 2 seconds.
so that they would go into a rural community and actually teach different things. And the reason why a religion component is first of all, they had it in a Baptist camp. And then they had to move away from that because it wasn't even concerning the Baptist ministries. And so that's where they come up with the different pillars.
So yeah, go ahead and start, and then hopefully we can hear it.
Can you put it louder?
More than 150,000 visitors over 9 weeks come through these gates, ready to take in a feast of ideas, performances, recreational activities, and spiritual exploration. At Chautauqua, there's music, dance, theater, comedians, stunning art exhibits, brilliant lectures, and provocative conversations. It's so much more than a vacation. It takes at least a day to settle into the rhythms of Chautauqua. You might start with a sail on the lake or a turn at a potter's wheel. You might ride your bike to morning worship service. See your children off to Boys and Girls Club for a full day of action and fun. Or you might just read the daily paper and have another cup of coffee while you wait for the 10:45 lecture at the amphitheater. America's greatest thinkers, artists, leaders, and preachers have spoken in this breathtaking outdoor arena. They walked these same brick paths, delighted in the same grand trees. Lunch can be at the historic Athenaeum Hotel, or you can grab a salad or sandwich on the veranda of the Fowler Kellogg Arts Center. Afternoons are filled with choices: golf, tennis, classes, and dynamic speakers at the Hall of Philosophy. You might hear the Chautauqua Symphony or an opera masterclass rehearsing for an evening performance. You might catch a young musician playing in the practice shack where George Gershwin once worked. Or witness the young dancers who have come from around the world to study here. Whatever you decide to do, you will be in the company of people from all walks of life. People who want more than a plain vacation. People who value this lively mix of arts, recreation, education, and spiritual inquiry. People who treasure the family time they create here, across generations. The most challenging thing about Chautauqua is deciding what to do first. There's so much, something for everyone, all in the safety and historic surroundings of America's oldest institution for lifelong learning. Isn't it time you experience this national treasure with your family? Chautauqua.
Said, lifelong, it comes across as like a super vacation. So you're setting aside, and they don't want people to just go for a day. Usually they'll go for a week or 2. And so it's the responsibility then of whoever's hosting the Chautauqua, in that case, traveling Chautauquas. Ours would be specific to us, and we would hope to set it up as a permanent Chautauqua that would grow and develop. Theirs, started with a week. Now they're up to the 9-week summer. They have a whole everything for 9 solid weeks. Some people go for the entire 9 weeks.
In one area.
Yeah, and so that's incredible. But the responsibility for us, I mean, we're starting off here just in our town with 1 day, a single day. It's a 4-day Chautauqua between the 4 municipalities, but the 4th day they all end up here. So we actually fall on the Saturday. It's anticipated will be the biggest of the 4 days. And when people arrive, our responsibility then is to give them options. So they'll have a book, similar to what you might have seen at BYU Education Week. And they're like, good grief, down here at the Remington, there's this going on, there's that going on over here at the Civic Center's hosting, speaker after speaker, and then there's a master's class, and then there's arts, recreation. I can
Mock
send the kids to dance, mock trials. The whole community has a full day at every venue ready to go. There's recreation, there's soccer games, there's the whole thing, and it's our best foot forward on a single day. And, if we can get some incredible keynote speakers, I mean, this is the day to get Mitt Romney, this is the day to get,
This is the day to get Dr. Godfrey.
Yeah, Dr.
this is the day to get Godfrey, this is the day. And those are just one option, and if people are like, I don't want to go to Godfrey, well, that's fine, there's 6 other things going on that same hour here in the town. So it's, and like I say, if we do it right, if we do this well, then we can create a culture of Chautauqua that will spread not just in that 1 week, but it'll spread into 2, into 4 weeks. And it will become an attraction. As they pointed out there, what did they say, 250,000 people? I mean, we just need a fraction of that, really.
Now,
Okay.
for your information, it's a 4-year Chautauqua right now. Each community has their dazzling day. 10th is Sterling, the 11th is for Raymond, the 12th is McGrath, and the 13th, which is Saturday, is Cardston. And they'll all have their own little individual daily programs. So what we are doing here, Councillor Peavoy and myself, is trying to organize volunteers and brainstorm of what we can do in this community. Now, some of the things that we were looking at is a narrated guided tour by an individual who has already said that he can do it, unless he tells me differently tomorrow when I phone him. Starting at Immigration Gap and coming all the way down the marked Benton-McLeod Trail. And he'll actually tell the stories that happen.
Does it very well.
There will be possibly teaching line dancing over at the senior center, if I can get the seniors on board. We might have, I can't remember what it's called, but we've got one individual that hosts indoor tennis, and they might teach that. We have the artist at the Tourist Information Center who is going to put on basic sketch classes in a day. We have a lady who has volunteered herself, along with, I hope, 10 to 15 other ladies, to have a locked-down babysitting area in the skating rink. And when we mean locked down, if I was coming to Cardston and I had 3 little kids, I wanted to take them somewhere where they're safe. And so there'll be a wristband identification or something like that. So when I phone that ice rink and say, hey, I want to pick up, Mary or Susie or whoever, and this is they can identify that I do have children down there. And there'll be face painting down there and stuff. There'll be stuff going on at the card home. There'll be stuff possibly going on at the United Church. I ideally would like to see at 7:30 in the morning a gathering right here in the Civic Center, as many as we can get in there, as a non-denominational service to start the morning off.
Morning devotional.
So
So that's
we-
happening in each of the 4 communities, and we're trying to stay consistent. Religion is a pillar of Chautauqua, although it's interdenominational. There's no,
Yeah.
there's non-denominational.
Non-denominational, so that we'd start out with O Canada and have a prayer on the and so forth, and maybe a speaker. And then from there, we would lead them out with a pamphlet or booklet of all the different events that are happening. And it could be an exciting day. It could bring a lot of people into our community, which we need and which we want.
If you start that early, have you ever thought that we could maybe involve the Rotary Alliance and ourselves to do breakfast? or
We have
something?
thought about having a pancake breakfast, bring them right out of the Civic Center, having a pancake
Yeah.
breakfast set up right here along the back, you know, and.
Out here in
have-
the parking lot, like?
Yeah, right out here in the parking lot. Because there's parking over in that parking lot, the library and so forth. We're looking at things that maybe the library could do. It's whatever you want. I've talked to somebody who could do the history of education from the 1900s up to now, and how it's evolved with electronic devices and everything else, you know, and how the curriculum has changed.
But even education, the way it morphed in this town, I mean, the church and the church housed a school.
Yeah. Now,
Those are
there's
pioneers in this town.
There's a lot of things that we're going to be presenting. One of the things that I'd like to suggest tonight, that we've got a beautiful mural down there on the card home. But who knows what it is? We need to title that mural, and we need to say, "Welcome to Cardston," or
Even
"Is
on the
this-"
side of the building there?
on that side of that building. There's no title on that mural. It means nothing. People take a photo op standing in front of that mural, and then they go home, and a week later they say, "Where was this, and what was this all about?"
There should be a date attached to that mural. If it meant to represent a pioneer coming to
Yes,
here,
I
then
agree
we
with
should
you.
have a date attached to it.
Yeah, and I'd like to get a hold of Sergeant Senuk and say, "Sergeant, can you give us an RCMP and Red Surge for photo ops down there?" And either that, or, you know, have them stand in front of that mural for a photo op. And
2%.
little things like that, you know, makes a good day. I've got the campground contractors, and we're way behind the campground contractors because they're full. They're full, so we might have to find.
A Chautauqua like this brings with it additional logistical concerns.
Problems.
First of all, as has been said, that's a busy August week anyway. Hotels and campgrounds right now, they don't need the help. They don't
Okay.
need this event. They're full anyway. So in addition to, and by the way, the other communities have an even bigger problem in this respect because they don't have hotels and restaurants like we do. So what they're doing is they're just setting up, you know, the back 40 acres with some
campground.
porta potties, and they're just letting people, they're plotting out a beautiful campground in rows. People are gonna, it's gonna be a tent city for a day. And as was pointed out in our last meeting, the reality is if I'm gonna go pitch my tent in a beautiful tent city, I'm not gonna take it down and move to the next community 30 minutes away. I'm gonna just drive to go to McGrath and Raymond and stuff. So essentially, we wanna have this little beautiful tent city available for 4 days, and we hope, although, you know, we don't
They
want
use
to.
it as a hub.
Yeah, we want to keep them here all 4 days, and then encourage them to go to the events at the other communities. Now, that being said, if they wake up here each of those mornings, we're looking at the possibility of, and again, logistical nightmare, but the possibility of a breakfast somewhere. Now, that doesn't mean we have to pay for the breakfast, right? It just means we have to have some food available, because I'll tell you, if they come and they can't get food, or all the restaurants are full and they can't even get it, they're not going to come back next year, right? So we want to make sure that we are prepared, especially on our day, to feed. I mean, the number of people we want to accommodate at Chautauqua is about 2,000. And where they get that number is they believe that's going to be the number
Just
of
the
people
families.
who just live in these 4 communities, who get up out of Raymond or McGrath and drive to Cardston to go to the Chautauqua events here. So that's not any tourists coming, that's just 2,000 local people excited to see what this thing's all about. And we have to have, and this is the burden on our committee, is we have to have a place for 2,000 people to go and do stuff. So we say, well, we can fit a couple hundred in the thing, and we can fit a couple hundred over here. But eventually, we get down to like art classes at the thing, where we can accommodate maybe 15, and then we start looking at the soccer field real close. And say, what can we do up there?
Remington Carriage, Howard Snyder said he could accommodate up to 40 people at a time, and then what he would do is he'd take one of his interpretive officers, and they would split off, and they'd take a tour of the the Remington Center both ways, and then end up in front of the restoration shop. And he'll do the history of possibly the wheels and buggies, you know, of how they've moved and what they're used for, and stuff like that. And that, to me, that's a learning exercise, you know.
There is that whole element of the theater in this town and anything musical in this town. Somehow,
We have a
that has to
Chautauqua
be
play that's going to be
explored.
done,
Okay, all right.
and
The play takes place here in the Civic Center.
in the Civic Center.
The theater itself still has their show we will be competing with, but again, you only
Now,
go to them once you go to
I've
this.
talked to
one,
the
so it's
director
fine.
down at the theater today, and I'm still working on a situation where we're working together. And I want this council to know that they have paid actors, and I do not in any way want to discourage people from going to Carriage House Theater to a show.
No,
But if we
No,
can
we will fill
coordinate our
we will
times,
fill them up.
if we can coordinate our times, like,
We both can
we
be
maybe start our program at 6 o'clock, and if it's an hour long, get them out of here in time that they might want to go to the Carriage House Theater. But it's a logistic thing that I just want cooperation from everybody, and I literally have laid awake at night and wondering, holy smokes, you know? And then I was told today, now this was something that just blew me away. Glenn Jones, Dr. Glenn Jones has said that he'll work on the committee. In the Centennial, Cardston Centennial, they planned on 10,000 people. They had over 35,000 people. But they accommodated it. And what scares me is the logistics of 2,000 people. We're only talking the
That's
four
local.
communities.
That's local.
What happens in Lethbridge and Calgary pick up on this, and they've got people that's starting to follow at Chautauqua. Chautauqua, right now, they have a building in Boulder, Colorado, that they hold a yearly Chautauqua, and it is a designated site.
The brand is big, so you have people in the eastern United States and even eastern Canada who, when
They
they
would
hear that the
understand what it
Chautauqua is
is.
going on here, they will drive from Toronto, they will drive from
Fly in.
Alabama.
And I want to see Councillor Barfuss with his service truck set up somewhere, cooking ribs or something like that.
Let's make this clear, that it's not my truck, it's not my business, okay?
You mean that fuzzy red thing? But I would love to see things like that.
He has another one.
Just a question.
Yeah.
How many people do the Lions Club feed at their pancake breakfast on the Saturday morning of the parade?
500? 500? I'm guessing 500. So this would be at least 4 times bigger than that breakfast.
We need every club possible to.
We need all
join
hands
that.
on deck, we need this whole community in uniform.
Maybe what you need to do is see how many people have spare bedrooms that you'd be willing to
Yeah.
take in.
That actually was talked
This-
about. The other one was, what if people come without a tent, not realizing it's a tent thing? I mean, it's going to be on the flyer. It's marketed as a tent thing. This, you come, you camp. There's no hotels. I mean, people know, because the hotels will be filled. I'm surprised they're not full already. They probably are.
Well, it's 1 week after our Heritage Days.
We're going to put them in. So the question is, can there be tents? Like, would people be willing to like loan their tent for the day? Go out, set it up in the spot?
Or if they bring an RV, where are they going to park it?
And it has to be parked. It has to be parked.
Where do we have property to do that here in town?
Well, that's on each community to find, and I'll be honest, Sterling is a little ahead of us on this. They've got it all mapped out, they've got the grid, they already know where the porta potties are going. So and then, I'm not saying we're, behind schedule, but that's the level of thinking that we need to be putting into this. And this is big. There's no idea that's too big for this. I mean, if you can get Mitt Romney, if you can get Orson Scott Card, we need those
Yeah,
guys.
that's something.
Well, that sounds great. Yeah.
Someone said the other day, they said, it's too bad Cleon Skousen isn't still alive. And I said,
Anyway,
"It's not bad."
we'll see what we can
Raymond
do.
called dibs on
Great.
resurrected
But thank you,
Cleon.
Council,
Yeah, well,
for
thank you.
giving us the time.
So we'll keep updated on that.
And please, if you want to know more, come to the luncheon.
Yeah, okay. So the
You're
luncheon is
all
August 16th.
March
March
16th,
16th,
11:30 to 1:30.
Oh, starting 11:30?
Yep.
Okay, great.
So, just from my perspective, this is a bigger deal than I initially had thought. And when I realized that it was like a mini education week, all in one day
It's
here.
a new sleep.
You know, yeah, holy cow.
Councillor Bengry, yeah.
Well, you might have 3 families in your living room, so, I mean, who knows? Like, if they pour in, you know, if we build it, they might come, so.
We want it to be successful because of the amount of people we can bring into our community to be here, enhance our businesses downtown, and just, let's put it on
So
for a
we'll,
showcase for Alberta.
we'll
I think-
promote this in our letters to the citizens and other areas, yeah.
I also think that the restaurants in town need to be advised
Well,
of
they
that,
need to be-
because there needs to be,
Everybody.
need to be
Everybody.
prepared for that.
April
Every one
1st.
of them, yeah, I think so.
Chamber of
Town,
Commerce.
rest of them, town.
Well, this is the kind of event where we almost need to open every vacant business and have a little mini vendor in there cooking food or something, you know? I mean, that's the kind of thing, just for the day, right, just for the day. So that, I mean, and because the other part of this is, you want people to leave here saying, wow, that was something, you know?
Yeah.
Best food I ever tasted,
Gotta have the
best
Wi-Fi.
ice cream I ever, you know? We gotta set up downtown Waterton here for the day, and then send them packing.
It's the funnest holiday we've been
Very
on.
good.
That's right.
Okay, so Jeff's indicated he might have to leave a little early, so let's see if we can finish our agenda. Let's go to the parade schedule for, we've got, so far we've got Raymond, McGrath, Cardston, Pincher Creek, Lethbridge, Fort McLeod, Blood Tribe, Kainai Day, Sterling, Glenwood. The mayor just indicated we should definitely want to support the Chautauqua communities, which are the Mormon Trail communities, which would be Cardston.
There will be a
Raymond,
Chautauqua float in every community's parade.
and Sterling. On, the other parades, is there any that we
Well, that,
don't need to do?
I'm wondering, there is a cost attached to everything, obviously. It's about $500 for rental for one day with having the carriage and the driver. And then there is a cost for us, of course. So normally we have $3,000 scheduled, but last year we went over and above that amount, at least by $500 or $1,000. So there is a Fort McLeod that is a winter parade. So we have to decide, is that one an essential? It's a very pretty parade. And the other one is a Pincher Creek. If we put our effort on a Mormon Trail, do we still want to be in a Pincher Creek? Is there a benefit for us there, or is there more benefit for us to do, really to concentrate on our region, Lethbridge, and the other one? I love the Pincher Creek parade, it's a good parade, but it's not so much as what we love, is what can we afford according to the budget we have, and how much do we do?
The Pitcher Creek people always come to ours too.
Well, they sent a counselor to ours.
They send the councillors to ours, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been to it twice, and it's always been really good.
It's a very good parade.
Are we also looking at assigning or deciding who wants to attend each parade? at this
We
point?
just need to book carriages. The
Oh.
Remington is getting booked up this summer, and so they want us to book ASAP.
So really,
who isn't
we don't have to-
critical right now,
We don't have
but
to
which
decide on
ones?
that, so we
I
just
think
decide on which
The
parade.
first four are the Mormon Trail for sure.
Yeah.
Where we need to really decide is the Lethbridge, do we want to do the Lethbridge? We have and we have not. Or do we prefer to go to the Pincher Creek and to the Fort McLeod? And then we have the Blood Tribe, but the Blood Tribe invites us on their float rather than us
So we
providing a
don't,
float.
we don't have to take a carriage to the
No,
Kainai.
we have not in
Right.
the past.
So the ones that are in question right now, I see, are Pincher Creek, Lethbridge, and Fort McLeod. Everything else, I think we're going to, so I guess.
About Glenwood, that was new last year.
Yeah, I went to Glenwood and I took my own hand cart and I had
Oh,
my
right.
grandkids pull me. It didn't cost us anything.
That's right. you told me.
So, and we didn't need, they're kind of a laissez-faire parade, so I don't know that we have to
No.
decide on Glenwood. If we do Glenwood, it probably won't cost us
We don't need a
anything.
carriage probably, and.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we won't have to take a carriage there, so, we won't make it. So the question, Pincher Creek, Lethbridge, and Fort McLeod, do we want to continue
So
to do those?
to me, the question that we have to ask ourselves is what is the purpose for us in
Yeah,
attending them?
exactly.
Yeah,
And from that, then maybe we can derive which ones have value to us. So if our purpose is as an advertising venue,
It is.
Lethbridge then has some value, there's a lot of people there.
yeah, well, then what are we advertising?
The
The
town, the
Remington.
town, the
I suppose,
Remington, the town itself.
I mean, if, you know, if we're thinking, you know, the Chautauqua, these are all post after the event, so we'd be advertising, I guess, just the town in general or for next year.
But you know, when we went past this year, the television station, Dennis and I were sitting on that side of the carriage.
But they did a lousy job talking about our town, they didn't say anything.
But they did
We have
welcome
to
us.
provide,
They did welcome us to that community, but we need to provide a script.
yeah, it
know.
was terrible.
We did actually in that one, for what it's worth. We
No.
had provided
But
that.
but they did not say a
Yeah.
word. So I let the carriage pass by and there was not a word said and I was really annoyed.
Next time we'll provide shim.
I'll provide shed.
I know,
Because that's the whole idea, right? The whole idea is to hear your name and to have that Remington really put forward. That's the whole idea. But there was not a word.
Okay,
There was a silence.
all right.
I know the Pincher Creek Parade, they really speak us up. Bob Westrup is their, kind of the guy that.
Parade marshal.
that He's not the
Yeah.
parade marshal, but he's the announcer like.
Coordinator, yeah.
Yeah, the coordinator like Dean Bursey. And, well, I'll tell you, he just built up our community in a big way and recommended people to, you know, to come to Cardston. He listed off a whole pile of things that we had for people to come to see, and I was really pleased.
Okay, all right, so here is a question. If you run 7 parade, it's $3,500 plus all the per diems for the councillors. Is that what you want? It
No,
comes
we're-
always $2.
Yeah, we're
So
gonna
is that
talk-
7 or is that 6?
Yeah, when we have more questions on remuneration, we're gonna talk about per diems for parades too, so we might be able to tweak that depending on how we answer those questions
Right.
on parade per diems. We didn't get to that one tonight, but,
So do you want 7?
Pardon?
Do we want
Do
7?
we want 7? Well, let's see, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We've had most of these parades every year, and.
No, we had 6 in the past.
Yeah, we had the 6, yeah.
Well, we added.
We added the blood tribe.
And we added the blood tribe.
Well, what benefit is Fort McLeod Christmas parade, other than just being there,
And freezing yourself.
Yeah.
you know?
Well, so, yeah, I went this last year, really the only benefit was the municipal goodwill. They were thrilled to see us, they, you know, it was, they kind of.
That's what it boils down to, is
It's a lot of that.
municipal
We
goodwill.
had to take a carriage there to
Mhm.
Fort McLeod though.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
it cost
Okay.
money.
So,
It might be cheaper for us as a council to buy a real nice car.
Okay.
Well, I don't know,
Here's-
I like this handcart idea, I'll do the handcart in the snow next.
So,
I want to see that.
here is why we have 7 and no longer 6, is because we added Sterling.
yeah,
And if we're there to support the Chautauqua, it makes sense I would be in Sterling.
Well, I know I went to Sterling Parade last year, and it was very positive, very, very positive, all along. The way, there was lots of cheering, and everybody knows Cardston. It was very positive.
Half of Sterling is Cardston.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you know.
yeah.
I went to town, they were annoyed that I was not there. It was Raymond and Sterling. I heard a lot about it.
So,
What's that?
Sterling and Raymond let me know that they noticed I was not in a carriage.
okay.
Yeah, why weren't you there?
All right, well, let's decide,
Because we decided
Do
to
we-
send it one person.
do we drop any parades? Any of the ones off the list? Are we, what, we have an appetite, or do we keep all the ones that are on the list?
Okay, it seems to me
We need to keep my list.
to keep them.
So
Okay,
is everybody just saying we just keep them? Maybe we can look at ways to mitigate some of the costs as we go forward, maybe not have a carriage, maybe just take a car for one of them, or something, a truck, or
Or if we all just learn how to drive a team of horses,
Yeah.
again, we're just saving costs.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so I think, sounds
Jeff,
like around,
what had we scheduled or put in the budget?
I'd have to look at them.
Okay, all
Okay.
right.
So it sounds like around the table, we keep the praise, but maybe, like I say, we can look at mitigating if, you know, so some of them by not doing a carriage for some of them, so.
Well, the carriage have to be reserved this week.
Yeah, okay.
The carriage is the
So all we
advertising
have-
venue for
Or we have the
for
carriage
this,
or we
guys.
don't go.
I think you gotta have that
Well, no-
carriage.
No carriage of Blood Tribe, no carriage of Glenwood.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
you have the carriage to the other places.
So, okay, all right, we're good with that then. Okay, let me just quickly talk about the Christmas Light Festival. Now, we've all been invited to the dinner on Friday, and some of us, I think, are going, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I
I know
won't be
you'll be away.
there, and I won't be there.
I'll be there.
Next.
Now, they, when I
Richard
talked
be
to Heather, she asked if it'd be appropriate to have, you know, like the mayor or a member of the council. You won't be there, but is that okay?
If you want to have the deputy
Okay.
mayor to say something, by
Are you
all
gonna be
means.
there, Bill?
I'll be there, yeah.
Well, then you should be the one, you're the
So I
deputy
can-
mayor.
I could be okay to make some welcoming remarks, okay. And the other thing is that,
Keep it under 30 seconds.
yeah, I'll...
Just kidding. Don't be
Yeah.
that.
The other thing is that with that committee, we had a little discussion about providing some town support, you know, for orientation for committees, town committees. And this committee, they're a little loosely organized, and she just said, we would really love to have some training or a orientation for our committee, and so would the
Let me ask you
would
this,
town be
and I asked,
interested in helping that committee?
I asked the mayor this the other night.
Yeah.
Could the town host a
Committee training.
Orientation.
committee training?
We had said we were going to look
We were
into
looking
it.
into it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that's what
So
we
could we
need to do.
consider that as,
Yes.
as a possibility
Yeah, board training and so
for
forth.
training? Okay, all right,
Might
great.
happen in the fall.
Okay, all right, okay, so let's, yeah, I'll just take the, you know, that we're willing to do that, I'll take from that. Okay.
Now, Richard and I are gonna try to get this to be a Chautauqua-themed Christmas lighting ceremony, so.
Yeah.
Well, we'll try to combine everything, so I think we have one in camera
Yeah.
item.
So I will have a motion to go in camera.
Okay, all in favor, one camera? Okay, thanks. We'll just
Thank you.
give our people a minute.